Branding is the #1 most important thing when it comes to marketing. Just look at some of these massive companies. You don't even need to see the names of them, and just by the logo, you already know who they are. What is up, you guys? I'm Cody, and today I'm going to be showing you how to develop branding for your music. With all of this downtime in the music industry with no shows or tours going on, I thought it'd be a great time to dive into branding and really understand exactly what it takes to help market your music even better. My band is currently working on new music, and we've been redeveloping our whole branding structure and really thinking about how everything's going to look for this next record. And so I thought, what better time than to share it all with you and exactly what we're doing and how to go about developing a brand for your music. As always, if you are new here, don't forget to click subscribe down below. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so be sure you're not missing out. So in my last video on electronic press kits, I touched a little bit on vision and the identity of the band. And I thought I'd go a little more in depth with exactly what that means and how to incorporate that and how to develop that. Branding is your identity as a musician. Branding encompasses everything that is you. That's the way that you interact with people, the way your photos look, the way your logo looks. Everything that has to do with you as a musician or an artist or a band is branding. That is your identity. And this goes way beyond just a logo or a color. It's so much more in depth than that. Now you need to think, when someone finds your music and they like it, they're gonna wanna get to know you a little bit better. They're gonna wanna go to your social accounts, whether that's Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, and they're gonna wanna see what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and really get to connect with you. I say this all the time, but your fans are your friends. These are the people that you're interacting with on a regular basis, and you need to make sure that connection is really, really strong with them. And that's why your branding is so, so important. It's because it is your identity. That's who you are as a person and as a musician, and that's who these people are going to get to know. So it's super important that you're consistent with it and that you have a good idea of who you are as a person and a musician, and that you're able to project that onto other people so that they can really get a comprehensive idea of just who you are. Now, I think it's super important that when you're developing your branding that it's the same across all platforms. You want to have the same profile picture everywhere people go. You want to have the same headers. You want your bios to look the same. You want to make sure the way you talk to people are the same. I see way too often I'll go to someone's Instagram page and it looks a certain way and has a certain feel, and then I go to their Facebook page and it's like it's a totally different band. Sure, it's the same music and it's the same people, but it's branded differently, it's set up a little different, and that makes it confusing for your audience. Keep in mind, the same people who view you on Instagram might not be viewing you on Twitter or on Facebook. So it's super important that no matter where your audience is finding you, that it all looks the same. That way you're going to be able to be consistent with your content and the way you respond to people, whether that be through the comments or through messages. Now, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but first impressions are so important. You want to make sure that as soon as someone clicks on one of your social media links, that they understand immediately who you are and what you stand for. So once again, this means that your profile picture needs to match your banner or your header, and that all of this is kind of cohesive with your bio and how you describe yourself as a musician. When someone clicks on one of your sites, you're only going to have about 10 or 15 seconds to capture their attention. So it's so important that you know exactly what you're trying to be and you're able to get that across to them right away. Now, I know some social media platforms do have different demographics. I know for our Facebook page, we have a bit older of a demographic that is a little more male heavy, whereas our Instagram page is a younger demographic and a little more female heavy. So it is important that you do try to cater to those audiences and to those demographics, but at the same time, you need to stay true to yourself and true to your brand. You need to make sure that you're not trying to be someone different than who you are on Instagram because you think they'll like it better. You need to make sure that all of your platforms all look the same and everything is very cohesive. Now, if a video on different social medias and different platforms is something you would be interested in, drop a comment down below and let me know that's something you want to see from me. Now, just to show you a couple examples of really great branding, the 1975, I absolutely love their look. Just looking through their Instagram page, you can already tell that they have a vibe to them. There's a certain look and a certain feeling that you get from seeing it all. It's hard to put into words and it's hard to describe. It's really just something that you see and you're like, oh, that's the 1975. They have this kind of little yellow look going on, and even their live shows have a look. You go to a 1975 show, and they have this it's almost like a neon lights look to it. It's so cool. Everything looks so great, and I think they have some of the best branding in the music industry right now. Now, just look back to some timeless classics. You can never go wrong by copying the greats. Just look at the Beatles. Now, these guys, they were portrayed as a nice upper middle class, very positive, very happy, like goody boys. And you can see that just through the way they dress and the way that photos are taken with them. I mean, let me go back to this one. Look at those eyebrows. Holy moly, dude has got some eyebrows. Jeez. That's George Harrison, I think. My goodness. But anyways, look, they're always in the nice suit and tie. They all got the same hair. They're kind of hard to distinguish if you don't really know who they are. but they just look like nice boys, you know? And that's 100% what George Martin, their manager and the guys who kind of found them was going for. Now, just to contrast that with another band that was coming up around the same time is the Rolling Stones. Coming from the same area right at the same time, they kind of took the opposite approach. They went with this bad boy look. So if you notice, they're still like dressed nice, but they have a little more steez to them, you know? Like they're definitely the bad boys. They didn't want to be this like nice, polished, perfected pop band like the Beatles. They were gonna be rock and roll at its core, right? And I think that's really something that they did so well through branding them as musicians, is just kind of having this more like rocker vibe. Like, look, he's holding a cigarette. You would never see a photo of the Beatles holding a cigarette. And this was 40 years ago, right? So everybody smoked 40 years ago. Now, one of the reasons branding is so important is not only is it going to make you more recognizable as you go along, but it's also going to help you find the right audience. There's 7 billion people in the world, and I guarantee you not all of them are interested in your music. Sorry, but it's just how it is. But by developing a look and a style and a brand, this will help you not only find the right audience, but connect with them way better. There's so many people out there who not only will like your music, but they'll also like your personality and who you are as a person. So it's so important that your brand reflects who you are and what you stand for. Taking the time to develop your brand right now will not only lead to more fans down the road, but it will help strengthen your connection with your current audience even more. Knowing who you are as a musician and who your brand is will help you find the right audience. And this will make it so much easier for you to target your audience, whether that be through just catering your posts a certain way or through sponsoring and targeted marketing. Now, I know developing a brand and a theme can seem like a very daunting task, but if you simplify it, it's very simple. Now, what I recommend is developing a mood board. This can come in many different forms. The way I like to do it is I have a Google Drive folder, and every time I see a font that I like, or a photo that I like, or even just a color scheme that I like, I'll save that photo and I'll add it to that Google Drive folder. And my bandmates have access to this as well to post in there. And it's a good way for us to bring all of our ideas together and then sit down at the end of the month and find out what we like and what suits us the best. If you're new to branding and don't really know where to start, this is 100% the way I would go about it. Start with this, get your band involved, and just spend a little time going through other people's Instagrams or Pinterest or Google Images, whatever it is, and just find some stuff that you like and add it in there. You'll be surprised how fast this is going to fill up. It's probably going to overflow pretty fast. And then just go through at the end of the month with the team and find what you like and find a cohesive look. Maybe it's going to take you 1 or 2, maybe even 3 months, but this is going to really help refine down exactly who you are and what you stand for. Now, once you have developed a mood board and you don't really know where to go from there, I'd recommend reaching out to a photographer or a videographer or any kind of creative person to help you with this. Photographers are so great at bringing ideas to life. All you're gonna have to do is take them this mood board, say, hey, we love the way this looks, or hey, we love this color, or hey, we love this backdrop, and just bring it to them and they'll be able to help you out and set you up to succeed. I think too often bands will just meet up with a photographer and they'll walk around and just go shoot some photos. You really need to make sure you spend some time thinking about the location and the backdrop and the way everything's gonna look. Spend some time picking out some outfits. Maybe grab a couple outfits and go out there and make sure you're cohesive with your band and with your brand. Band and 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 brand. Not bad. Yeah, make sure your band and your brand all looks good together. Now, you might not get your branding down perfect right off the top, and that's okay. It's gonna change as it goes anyways. I know for us as a band, we started back in 2017, and we had a totally different look to start with. We had an idea of who we are and how we wanted to do it, but the look was different, and styles change as you go along, and themes change. And so, even last year, we had a different look than what we're developing this year. So you don't have to get it right the first time. It's not gonna be perfect the first time, but luckily, every time you release a new album is a new chance for you to rebrand that album and rebrand your band. Sure, you're still the same person, and the music's still gonna be fairly similar, but this comes down to developing your album artwork a different way, designing different merch, having a new logo maybe, or a different color scheme. Major artists are so good at having every album look a little different and have their own theme to it, which is so cool, and it's something that I've been trying to work on a lot lately. With us working on new music and developing the whole back end of how it's gonna be branded and how everything's gonna look, it's really given me an opportunity to reassess the way we go about posting on social media and connecting with our fans. And so if you already have music out, don't worry about it. You're not set being who you are as a brand. There's always an opportunity to rebrand or even just develop your current brand further. So don't worry if this isn't something you've done before. It's never too late to start. So what I recommend is start today. So simple. Find 3 images that you like and add them to a mood board. That's all you gotta do. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to drop a like below. It seriously helps out the channel more than you know. And if you have a friend who's a musician or anything really, they could be a small business entrepreneur or into fitness or anything. If you think they might need help with branding, do them and me a favor and share it with them. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm gonna get back to my coffee. Happy branding.